是可以，但是我并没有准备。你可以现在跟我讲。
Later on, the function will say explain to you what you mean by government, okay? So welcome everybody. So before we start, I just want to introduce. So this is our agenda for today, as you can see, right? So the first section, 10 to 10, 10, I'm going to do some introduction. Oh, actually, we start. Spend many hours to put together the lesson for you today. You can call him.
Actually, it's good enough. It's fine.
You always have to address okay. So, do you want to introduce a little bit your background to some parents?
And wonderful is in case that having where I'm going, maybe they can have a so you can have a good thing. Yeah. They don't have to like you. When you find that they don't want to have. So, they don't have to be so they asked me, I don't you know, Yes. Right now, everyone's getting so yeah, oh my God. What is going on? Anyway, that's probably it's wrong, so that's. I think that I can just. Alright. Something. Activity.
Okay.
Have, right, at the Cambridge Onsen. So today we have two different houses. 一个是家长饮食分号是给我们家长多少现场你可以过来看到家长，所以我想知道，现在你是我是你要怎么称他也可以，但你就是会让我们这个家长的性质哈，现在这个交流啊，大家就是 very informal 很随意，然后那个你说是不是你要不要跟家长说几句话？快，请坐那个。
反正是it's all interactive，所以其实就是大家分享一下，就是I'm not an expert, I'm the only kid. I'm not an expert. I just had a couple of years session with parents in China, so learned a lot from the perspective of what the challenges are and how we facing that, how do we work together to find a way to overcome that. So that's pretty much, and that's the basic line over here is the foundation is coming from Tzu funding, Tzu. It's always about, the love. The love, but it's more, if you look at it that way, it's a more, if you're talking about the love, it's more abstract. So how do we transform that from abstract to something you can do? I mean, there's a pathway to go through that. For example, like a CG, the pathway for them to do that is just by doing, you're learning, and you start learning, and then you transform yourself. It's a cycle. It's a spiral up, and then at a certain point, you got to enlighten. And then it's the enlightenment, which is very important. It's basically enlightenment over here. You look at the word enlightenment over here is aim in life. So basically, you get something come out of it. So very similar to enjoy, it's very similar to enable. It's basically from doing, you are able to, or from doing, you can feel the joyfulness, and by doing, you can find the enlightenment. So that's all about it. The foundation over here is coming from the love, but how do we go through what we are here to all the way over how do we deliver the love, how do we accept love, and also the most important part is how to love yourself. All of that is the foundation of it. So I'm going to cover more so when we have a session, but Anybody who has a question, feel free to talk about it. It's not like I'm teaching, you're learning, it's learning together for that one. All right, okay.
Thank you. Okay, so this is basically the agenda today, so, and then, the next one, what is that plan, we are going to officially, we are going to start the lesson, right? And then the parent, we are going to break, parent is going to be in the room, and then Susan is going to stay here. And we are going to have the snack break between 10:30, 10:15, 11. Thank you to all the parents. The snack box, right? Because just right? Yes, and it's a very fun simple, right? Did you make very fun? I think you go from just to go. Yeah. And then, after that, so, Judy was not here yet. She's going to, practice papers, the subject grade. And also, we are going to start to practice the sign language, the daily plan. And then, in like what Yoshi was saying, initially we had like 1.5 hours for the lesson, but because of the result, we are able to make it today, so we cut it short for just for the first section. The second section, which is a special activity we are going to do. We are going to use the new school. And because it's a lot of explaining teachers how to make it. Parents like to do as well. Yeah. And then after that, we are going to do some reflection. So we can have opportunity to socialize, we can, present for each other. And then we also prepare the lunch break for everybody. It's Teaching Circle is here. Teaching Circle. Oh, so we want to thank Teaching Circle, treat out to the principal of the Sunday school, the teaching of the teacher. So because we will be leaving at 12:30, so everybody can carry those. You can stay here if you don't like, or you can bring it with you. All right? Okay, thank you. Who wants to be my timekeeper today? To be my No, he doesn't even have a phone okay. But I just want to remind everybody, no, okay, yeah, no phone, no iPad during the class. Okay, if there's any emergency, you need to contact your family. Please raise your hand to let me know. No iPad, no phone, all right? And we have some news out here that you might not see for the first time. So Jerry was a Susan for last year, but he didn't have a lot of opportunity to join Susan activity. So Jerry, can you please stand up? So Jerry, come here, stand up, yeah. And then we also had you come here for the first time, right? Yeah. So yeah, you can see them. And now I'm going to explain to your parents. So you all did a very good job wearing the uniform. So I think we are okay, you have your jacket. You can come here, come here. This is actually 20 hours, right? 20 hours. And if we started to say, we this is a for God, but this is a uniform. And then you do not have a 20 hours yet. So this is a uniform for the system that before you become before you go the uniform. The trust. Once you have 20 hours, you can either wear this or wear this. All right. You can either have the white collar shirt, the white pant or the black pant like hidden. Okay. But once you have 20 hours, we can get you wear the uniform. All right. Okay, thank you, Miss Sina. And then the address here. So we talk about that. I just want to present the uniform to our new so that the 20 hours and 17 so yeah, someone will All right, thank you. All right, so I think we are about 9. What is it about?
I can.
Thank you. What is it about? And Helen, please.
好，各位同学，我们就要开始今天的课程。不过，因为今天算是 introduction of introduction，所以说算是比较大家可以比较 relax 一点。然后，如果你对这个 topic 没兴趣的话，你不用一定要待在这边，你可以去散步啊，或者是什么之类都无所谓。然后，呃，你们如果你们要移动座位的话，也可以，或者是坐到另外一边坐散一点都可以。OK，那这堂课的名称，然后下一堂我们会正式开始做介绍。但是今天我有准备一些这个讯息跟你们分享，然后你们算是 early board，所以说会比较那个。所以如果你们要坐松一点没问题，然后椅子要移近啊，或者是要坐到边边都可以。现在是非常 relaxing，所以Okay, so I'm going to skip the research experience part. I will go over that next time. Oh, yes. So this is actually, how many of you have seen this image before? Yes. 好，这个。 But let's see. Okay, let's go to how many time. Who's the timekeeper? How many time do we still have? Oh, I'm going to skip this part. Basically, psychology is telling us based on what we see, it kind of shows some kind of cues or information about what our could be personality or characteristics or behavior pattern. So, but that's not really the point today. So I'm going to kind of skip this part, and you probably cannot read. Do you guys read Chinese? Okay, who have seen this? Okay, another example. What do you see? Yes. People. Right. So they are walking. Yes. Downstairs. Yes. What else do you see? 看你说. Yes, arrows points upwards, right? So again, you see different things here. Okay, now. I've seen it before. Really easy. Which class? Wow. It's really good. Okay, very good. So, which class? Yes. Very good. Those two looks already now. Looks. It's the way I'm the right answer. Right. And it's not already on the right answer. But what is that? For me, it's at least you can probably agree that they look, but they are actually, so you are right, they are actually the same. It's called mirror illusion. It's very, very famous. So what does this show us? A general principle means the environmental cues will misleading, bias, or influence or impact our interpretation of the things or the data we have observed. Okay, here, what do you see? You probably see a triangle, right? Or two triangles. Let me ask you this, how many triangles you see here? Still counting? Quite a few. But you see an invisible triangle, right? Yes, Kyle. 四个，哪四个？ Which four? 一个黑色，一个白色把它盖住 a white one on top of the black one, right? Yeah, we saw that those two. And what the other two? Magic, wait for a few seconds. 哦，那个这是 sensitive，它是 a very sensitive projector. So like any big vibration is going to. Okay, that's okay, Pat. That's okay. Don't worry. So basically, as you can, so what's really here is really just 小精灵. But do you guys still play this kind of game? Long time ago, like Pac-Man. Thank you very much. Yes, yeah, Pac-Man. Yeah, you still play Pac-Man. So it's really just Pac-Man and a few kind of how do you call this, check mark, right? But it looks like triangle. There's actually no like completed triangles here, right? But we all see triangles. So why's that? Have you seen this before in your life? In the real world? Yes, this is called, yes. You want to say something? Right. So this looks like triangle. It does not exist in the real world unless your real world is uh, what's that school? For Hogwarts, unless you go to the same school with Harry Potter. Otherwise, you shouldn't be able to see this in the real world because this is called impossible feat. But art can create that, and our human brain, eyes can perceive it. This is a more complicated presentation of that, so we can jump to that. So what I want to say is that what do we really say? Okay, case study. I know you guys love quiz, right? But do you know what is case study? If not, it's okay. You are going to do tons of case study in this class. So they are.
Since are the ones wearing shoes, and there's no market there. But the second person says, like, we're gonna go one wearing shoes, so they're, so that's the thing, they don't get.
Okay, now, how many goes the ladies, right? Right. So how are you going to expand? That's another way. So here, the point is not to tell you person A or person B is right or wrong and why. The point is to ask you how to ask appropriate question that can lead to a solution or a purpose. So what is the purpose of that case, really? What is the mission or duty or responsibility of those two salesperson? Yes. What do they want to achieve? Right. Sales shoes. Is that correct? Any other answer? Okay. Rather than selling shoes, I would argue, not that you are wrong. How about they are not there to sell shoes. They are there to do a research, or I should say collect data for the company to decide if they want to sell shoes there or not. So again, they are not going there to sell shoes. They are going there to do research about if they should enter the market or not. Can you see the difference? Yeah? Okay. Now, which one do you think is more likely about their purpose? What is your purpose to be here? Other than your parents said you need to come? Okay, now. Here. So,
And yeah, the parents is contacting for help. That's scary. And it's pretty fast.
Is it bad to drop out from school? What's the difference between question 1 and question 1A? Example. Like this guy. You guys know him? Do you know he dropped out? And this guy, do you know this guy? He actually dropped out from one of the little school in Harbour Square. Do you know that? You guys know who he is, right? Okay, maybe those people are too senior. So how about this guy? You guys don't know this guy, right? The new generation, right? He's also a dropout. Same little school. Oh, really? Okay, look, this one, who doesn't know him? You don't know him? You don't? Okay. You are going to know him eventually. Everybody is going to know him. Which phone are you using? Do you have a phone? Are you using a phone? Which kind of phone you are using? Which kind of phone you are using? Max, I'm asking your neighbor. Yeah, yeah. Which kind of phone are you using? Which kind of phone are you using? iPhone? Apple iPhone? He invented the iPhone. If you don't know him, now you know. He's the one who says, no. Anyway, he's the person who says we shouldn't have buttons on on our phones. While all the phones has buttons at that time, which is, yeah, he's Steve Jobs. You don't know him? Oh, I see. I thought he's an idol for all of us, but he passed away. I don't remember the exact year, but yes, he founded Apple and got kicked out and went back. Yeah, right. So if you don't know about Steve Jobs, you might want to Google and search his stuff. He has probably have a lot of things that he can improve. But anyway, the point is that I thought everybody knows about him. Those are all college dropouts. Okay, this is actually the founder of Apple. At least you know Apple, right? Okay, very good. This is the founder of Microsoft. It's either Microsoft or Apple, right? Right now, or DC or Marvel, right? Uh, what else? Yin and Yang, and you see the point. And this is Mark Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg. Thank you very much, Zuckerberg. Yes. Uh, he. If do you know Facebook? You got to know Facebook to be able to know because he. Although some people say he steals the idea, but anyhow, Facebook he owns lots of share. He's basically the founder of Facebook. So anyway, the point is that they are all college dropout. Again, I'm not asking you guys to drop out. Okay, that's totally not the point. Besides, if you want to drop out, you need to get in first. Okay, so and two of those three, they went to that little school in Harvard Square. So maybe you want to get in first before you consider you want to drop out. So do we have time to play this? Let me see. Okay.
The story is about connecting the dots. I dropped out of Reed College after the first 6 months. It's been about 18 months or so before I really quit. So why did I drop out? It started before I was born. My biological mother was a young, unwed graduate student, and she decided to put me up for adoption. She felt very strongly that I could be adopted by college graduates, so everything was all set for me to be adopted and birthed by a lawyer and his wife. Except that when I popped out, they decided at the last minute that they really wanted a girl. So my parents, who were on a waiting list, got a call in the middle of the night asking, "We've got an unexpected baby boy. Do you want him?" They said, "Of course." My biological mother found out later that my mother had never graduated from college and that my father had never graduated from high school. She refused to sign the final adoption papers. She only relented a few months later when my parents promised that I would go to college. This was the start of my life. And 17 years later, I did go to college. But I naively chose a college that was almost as expensive as Stanford. And all of my working class parents' savings were being spent on my college tuition. After 6 months, I couldn't see the value. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, and no idea how college was going to help me figure it out. And here I was, spending all the money my parents saved their entire life. So I decided to drop out and trust that it would all work out okay. It was pretty scary at the time, but looking back, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. The minute I dropped out, I could stop taking the required classes that didn't interest me and begin dropping in on the ones that were far more interesting. It wasn't all romantic. I didn't have a dorm room, so I slept on the floor in friends' rooms. I returned Coke bottles from the 5-cent deposits to buy food with. And I would walk the 7 miles across town every Sunday night to get one good meal a week at the Hare Krishna temple. I loved it. And much of what I stumbled into by following my curiosity and intuition turned out to be priceless later on. Let me give you one example. Reed College at that time offered perhaps the best calligraphy instruction in the country. Throughout the campus, every poster, every label on every drawer was beautifully hand calligraphed. Because I had dropped out and didn't have to take the normal classes, I decided to take a calligraphy class to learn how to do this. I learned about serif and sans serif typefaces, about varying the amount of space between different letter combinations, about what makes great typography great. It was beautiful, historical, artistically subtle in a way that science can't capture, and I found it fascinating. None of this had even a hope of any practical application in my life. But 10 years later, when we were designing the first Macintosh computer, it all came back to me. And we designed it all into the Mac. It was the first computer with beautiful typography. If I had never dropped in on that single course in college, the Mac would have never had multiple typefaces or proportionally spaced fonts. And since Windows just copied the Mac, it's likely that no person that had never dropped that, I would have never dropped in on that calligraphy class, and personal computers might not have the wonderful typography that they do. Of course, it was impossible to connect the dots looking forward when I was in college, but it was very, very clear looking backwards 10 years later. Again, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever, because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well-worn path, and that will make all the difference.
The second thing I want to share is that talking about choreography, this is choreography. How many of you can read the Chinese characters? Do you know what it means? This is also another, what's, can you see what character this is? Before 年大吉 is actually a Chinese character. Do you know what it is? 对，这个是龙的草书，所以 it looks like a dragon. Hopefully you would think that is, do they look good? Do they look like art piece? You kind of have to say yes, because thank you very much, because I wrote them, so you have to say yes. The other thing I thought is very important is that I know you guys are young, you would not think about that time is important. But eventually, 30, 40 years from now, you will know what he said, and you will know what I said today. Okay, so examples of Well, in our daily life, you probably should not go to a fast food restaurant, okay? But when you are ordering, after you complete order, so I will just read the report because we don't have much time left. The friend asks you, would you like a small or large size of fries? And another question is that, would you like some fries with your order? So if you are the store manager, which one you are going to say, this is the standard protocol, you should ask your customer this question. So it could be first one or second one or either one. So what would be your answer? First one, raise your hand. 4, 5, 4. Okay. Which one you think is the second? See, Kyle, you don't need to look for others because otherwise you would never invent a phone that without buttons. But not that you have to invent a phone without buttons. So, but anyway, in this class, you don't need to worry about how other people think because I want to hear what you think because sometimes the minority are right, even though in a democracy we vote and whoever get the highest vote they will win. But there's only one or two people can win. Like very few scientists can win Nobel Prize. Of course, there are lots of good scientists as well. They make great contributions, but it's not like a global work. Then they vote. Okay, let's do this way. Let's do that way. Then they will just make a huge contribution. So it is okay to think differently than others. Okay, it depends on what. So anyway, as you can see here, the first one would actually lead to some people may just choose okay, large or small. So there's no choice for the second one is actually yes or no question. Therefore, the option is there very clearly. So in commercial world, they will use this kind of technique that is actually apply psychological theories into daily life examples to promote marketing, sales, buying more products, things like that. So it would be nice that we all be able to see that. Okay, so are we seeing a challenge or opportunity? I think I'm going to skip this part for the next time. So I will just say that one point I'm trying to show you here is sometimes what you see is not what you see. And when you see what you see is not what you see. Now, for the follow-up homework, if you want, I have a podcast about research part. You can check out this correlation. Have you guys heard about correlation? We're not going to talk about that today, but if you are going to school, you are going to learn this, but you are actually using this concept probably incorrectly if you never heard about it so far, but you will know eventually sometimes within this course series. The second one is the placebo effect. Have you heard about the placebo effect? Yeah, very good. Again, we don't have time to talk about that later, but you can listen to my podcast. I have Chinese and English version. My Chinese is probably not that good, so feel free to let me know if I need to redo it. Okay, this one is meant for your parents, but it's actually you can also listen to it if you want. This is basically using cognitive and psychology perspective to describe why you should learn Chinese in a non-dominant language speaking environment. Here is the barcode if you are interested. Otherwise, just Google psychology with Dr. Song. Okay, so that's my time with you today. Do you have any questions before we end? Okay, if not, I will pass the time back to. Oh, no.